Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. So today I am going to be going through Logan's birth story. I have a couple of clips I have like a picture of the day, 2 days before I went into labor. And then I have just like a quick 2-second clip that Derek accidentally took of me while I was about to push. Thankfully he took that. I wish he had recorded the whole thing, but at least I have some kind of visual of what happened that day. And I actually did film right when my water broke. So my water just broke. I'm so excited. That means he's coming so soon and he'll be here before his due date, which I had like a feeling that I was gonna go early. I thought I was gonna go earlier than this, but wow, like I'm so excited. I have like a towel in between my legs because I'm still leaking a lot. I'm just about to do my hair, maybe throw on some makeup, just because contractions haven't really started yet. So my doctor's option to me was to either go in and be monitored right away, or I can wait at home for a little bit and see if contractions start on their own, which they are starting to. So this is the robe I've got on. And I have a towel just wrapped in between my legs, and this is like the last, I mean, this robe is super bulky, but there you go. There's the belly right before we go into labor. I guess actually we are in labor now. Yeah, I guess this is called active labor. So my water broke at 11:21 p.m. on July 7th, 2019. If you see me looking down, I have like a clips and notes version of what happened in this notebook. Yeah, my water broke. I literally, while my water like was about to break, 2 seconds before it broke, I said to Derek, wouldn't it be funny if my water broke right now? And that was because earlier in that day, we had gone into the hospital and I had them check to see if my water broke. I didn't really think that it broke, but I had some clear fluid that was leaking and it was different than anything I had had the entire pregnancy. So I had them check, they swabbed me, they said, no, it wasn't your water breaking. And as we were walking out of the door in that room in the hospital, the nurse said, we'll probably see you later tonight. And I said, no, you're probably just trying to get my hopes up. And she said, no, this actually happens quite a bit where you think your water broke or you had some type of clear fluid and your water will break naturally on its own later. So of course I had hoped that that would be the case. I wasn't really sure, kind of just took it with a grain of salt. We went about our day, and that night, some reason we were getting into bed much later than usual, and at 11:21, it broke on the bathroom floor, and I immediately knew what happened. It was a huge gush of water all over the floor, and I called Derek in there. I said, I think my water just broke. It's all over the floor. He said, are you sure? I was like, look at the puddle below me. Yes, I'm sure. So I called my doctor. I was literally laughing as I was calling her. She said, you sound like you're having a good time. I was like, well, my water just broke. She was like, oh, well, you must not be having contractions because you're laughing. And I was like, you're correct. I'm not having contractions yet. She said, okay, give it a little bit. I want you to come in to the hospital by 6 a.m. You can labor at home as much as you feel comfortable, or if you'd like to come in earlier and be monitored, you can do that as well. I chose to labor at home. I am not a huge fan of needles, so I wanted to labor at home as long as I could. So in between 11:21 p.m. and 12:30 a.m., I chose to do my nails. I did my hair, I curled it, which was kind of a lost cause because I was laying on it the whole time. And then I also had a light layer of makeup done. So I tucked a towel in between my legs because I was leaking the entire time. I actually leaked the entire time up until I gave birth, which I heard is very common. So my contractions started at 12:30 a.m. Contractions actually started super light and easy. They were about 15 minutes apart. I used an app to track them, and I still have that app on my phone, and it's kind of sweet to look back at like what happened that night. They started at about 15 minutes apart. I didn't have to use any breathing techniques to get through them at all. They were super easy. I wasn't doubled over. I could just barely feel them. I could barely feel like the tightening. At 1:30 a.m., they started to get a little more intense, but still I could breathe and talk through them. They were at about 5.5 minutes to 7 minutes apart. And they were about like a minute long, 45 seconds to a minute long. So at that time, I still felt good enough. I decided to clean the bathroom because I wanted a clean bathroom as I was recovering from birth. And I cleaned it because that's where my water broke as well. I got the bathroom all clean. I decided, okay, I guess I should lay down for a little bit. I didn't really know what to do. I kind of had a little bit of nervous energy. I wasn't nervous, but I was just like waiting. So I decided to lay down. That quickly became very uncomfortable for me. So I got up, I decided to walk around. I said, you know, maybe I should eat a little something. So all I did was eat a banana. Then I decided, you know, I'd like to be, you know, a little bit clean. I just cleaned the bathroom. I feel kind of icky. I have this water running down in my legs. I felt like the hot water would feel good on my belly and my back. So I hopped into the shower and it did feel great. And all of a sudden, while I was in the shower, I was in the middle of washing my body with my loofah. I remember this so clearly. All of a sudden, my contractions went from 5.5 to 7 minutes apart, anywhere in there, to a 1.5 minutes apart within one contraction. And all of a sudden it was intense pain. I was doubled over in pain. I couldn't speak. I could barely yell for Derek to come help me because I was afraid that I was going to fall in the shower. I could not, I was in so much pain all at once, all of a sudden. So I went into the room where Derek was sleeping, our bedroom, and I said, okay, it's time to go. This was at about 2:30 a.m. And he was kind of slowly getting up, and I said, no, really, get up. I need to go to the hospital right now. I can barely breathe through these contractions. I was like, this is what they're talking about. We need to go. As well as my doctor had told me, you know, come in at whenever you feel comfortable, but when your contractions get to 3 minutes apart is when I really want you in there. Well, like I said, my contractions had quickly gone to 1.5 minutes apart. I had no warning and I was like, crap, I really don't want to have the baby in the car. We're about 20 minutes away from the hospital, so we need to go now. We jump in the car. We were out of the door in about 5-10 minutes. We get in the car with all of our stuff, say goodbye to the babies, and we get to the hospital around 3 a.m. I call in, like outside the door, it's locked, so you have to call in and tell them why you're there. I called in and told them why I was there, and I was happy, you know, I was just normal. And as soon as I got to that desk, I was moaning in pain, doubled over, like you see, you know, the women that you see like that are moaning and it sounds like a ancient cry or something like that, or some kind of tribal cry. That's what I sounded like. I couldn't help it. It was just so natural. Like the whole time that I was riding in the car having contractions and getting up there having contractions, that whole time is when I decided absolutely yes to an epidural. I had kind of been going back and forth in my mind. I knew I wanted an epidural, but I was hoping that maybe it would be easy and quick enough and I could just have a medication-free birth. No, I wanted that epidural, and that was the best choice for me, I tell you what. So I got there at 3 a.m. They took me back to a room. It was room number 14. And at my 38-week doctor appointment, I was 1 centimeter. And with all of the contractions, I had only progressed to 1.5 centimeters. And when I went into labor, when my water broke, I was 39 weeks and 4 days. So now this is the next morning. I'm 39 weeks and 5 days. But it's early in the morning, like 3 a.m. My first nurse, her name was Joan. She came in, placed an IV. She was really good at it because it did not even hurt one bit. And they quickly got me on antibiotics and mixed with saline for testing positive to GBS. I was GBS positive. At 4 a.m., the anesthesiologist came in and he got me started on my epidural. He placed it perfectly. I even had a contraction when he was placing it. And at this point, my body was shaking uncontrollably. I couldn't control it at all. And somehow he still placed it perfectly. That, I'm telling you, best decision for myself ever. I immediately felt relief and I just felt so much better. I was able to rest and kind of recover before I actually gave birth. So for about the next 20 hours or so, I was in labor a total of 22 hours. So for the next couple of hours, I just rested, and the nurses came and changed me every 20 minutes, like changed my position every 20 minutes. I had a catheter placed. Everything was running smoothly. I got in like 4 bags of antibiotics by the time he came. We were doing well. Well, by the time around, I had three nurses, I think, and their names were Rachel, Lauren, and I want to say Cassandra. Maybe that wasn't her name. Anyways, my nurses were actually amazing. Anyways, at 6 centimeters, my doctor came in and she said, you know, he's not progressing like I'd like. You have been progressing up until this point. I was stuck at 6 centimeters for several hours at this point. And she said, we're not seeing enough variation in his heart rate, and he's not moving as much as we'd like to see. That typically means that a baby is not super happy where he's at. So they had a feeling that he was stuck. So my doctor said, and this was at 3 p.m. So my doctor said, you know, if I don't see him progressing more by 6 p.m., I'm going to have to give you a C-section. For some reason in my heart, I knew C-section wasn't right for me. I trust medical advice, but I can't explain to you the feeling. I just felt like he was fine, like he was okay. Nothing was really seriously wrong. I don't know why I felt that way, but I did. So I told her, please let me progress. I'd like to see how far I can progress on my own. And then of course we will do a C-section if absolutely needed. And she said, great, that sounds good. I'll be back in 3 hours. So in that 3 hours, my nurse, Rachel, had said, you know, let me try one more position with you. Because in that 3 hours, he hadn't changed at all. We were still stuck at a 6 centimeter, meaning that I was going to have to get a C-section. So my nurse, Rachel, came over and she laid me it was on my left side, and I was almost completely laying on top of my belly, which is kind of hard to do when you're 39 weeks and 5 days pregnant. She had me laying completely on my belly, and all of a sudden it was like a new baby. His heart rate got a ton of variation. He was moving around again. He seemed to kind of come unstuck from where he was. And my doctor came in at 6:15 p.m. and she said, wow, he looks like a totally new baby. We're happy with where he's at. I'll let you keep progressing and we'll see how far we get. Again, C-section was still on the table because once my water had broken, she wanted to deliver me within 24 hours. And we were getting closer to that point. I progressed until 8:45 p.m. So from 6:15 p.m. to 8:45 p.m., I progressed to a 10, and I was stationed at +3. And my doctor came in, she was like, let's push, let's start immediately. So we started pushing. I started pushing. They were coaching me through it. They were doing great. At this point, my nurse was Lauren, and she was a doll. She was amazing. And I think I pushed for about 6 or 7 pushes during contractions. It really didn't feel like that long. I pushed for a total of 40 minutes and he was out. They immediately laid him on my chest. When he came out, I was shocked that he came out because she didn't tell me that he was that close. I had no idea. I was still pushing like he was still way far up in there. I had no feeling, so I had no idea where he was at. So she laid him on my chest and I was shocked that he was there. It was just like a moment of, I felt like I was floating on a cloud, you know. It just didn't feel real that this baby I'd been talking to and he'd been kicking me and, you know, we had bonded for 9 months in my belly, that he was a real person. I don't know, it's just the most wild feeling. So they laid him on my chest, all goobied up. Then she delivered my placenta. I did not feel that either. And we just got to stare at each other for about an hour. We did do delayed cord clamping, which is where you wait like 3 to 5 minutes to clamp the cord until it stops pulsing. He was 20 inches long and 7 pounds, 2 ounces, which actually Derek guessed his weight exactly, which is so funny because he also guessed that he was a boy. So we did wait to have him weighed and measured, probably for several hours, and they were totally fine with that at this hospital. We just got a lot of bonding time, and I'll insert like a little video of him right after he was born. He was so sweet. He used to tuck his little lip in. He still does this. But he had his little lip tucked in like this. He was just looking around. Oh my gosh. It was so sweet. So we actually didn't have the name Logan picked out yet. We knew it was a possibility, but we just could not decide on his name. So we finally named him when he was a day old and decided on the name Logan. And oh my gosh, I am obsessed with this boy. I just become more and more obsessed with him every single day. I don't know, I can't even describe the love, but he makes me want to have a million more babies because he's just incredible. Yeah, my recovery was pretty dang good. I didn't have any complications or anything like that, which was incredible and exactly what I prayed for. I forgot to mention, I prayed from 3 p.m. to 6:15 p.m. In that time when I was stuck at 6 centimeters, I prayed every single second of that. I didn't speak to anyone. I prayed the entire time to the Lord that I would get to deliver him vaginally, because in my heart, that's what I felt should happen. And he delivered. It was the most, like, that was one of the coolest moments in my labor and delivery story, was just how the Lord delivered. And he delivered an incredibly healthy baby and mama. And my recovery was pretty good. It was kind of hard to sit on my booty for a little bit. I had I can't remember if she said a 2nd or 3rd degree tear, but I had 4 stitches and I couldn't feel them much. I used a lot of DERMOPLAST and a lot of it's like the mama herbal spray down there or something like that, and some ice packs. And I used that for about maybe 4 or 5 days, and then I was good to sit on my own. I started feeling more myself when I was about when he was about 6 weeks. And then I really started to feel myself when he was about 2 months. And now I really feel like I'm getting back to myself, and he is almost 5.5 months right now. He's just an angel baby. I don't know. He's incredible. We're gonna start sleep training him tonight. We've kind of laid some foundations down since he was born, but he woke up 7 times last night, and y'all, I need sleep. Giving birth was just such an amazing experience for me. And I hope I can do it a bunch more times because that was absolutely incredible. So yeah, that is Logan's birth story. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you being here. If you've stayed around this long and you yourself have a baby, leave me a comment down below about what your favorite part of their birth story was. I'd love to hear from you. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you get notifications every time I post. I've been posting every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday with a new video on this channel. Please give this video a thumbs up. I will see you guys next time. Bye.
And then with his face, I don't tend to use soap. I just wipe off the face a little bit with a washcloth. So he's there.
We're leaving the hospital. So fun.